All right, well, after passing legislation earlier this week to protect the unborn, the North Carolina House of Representatives followed up with House Bill 808, which protects children from transgender procedures. These are minor children. Republicans hold a veto-proof supermajority in the state legislature, so once legislation passes the Senate, as expected, Republicans are poised to override the governor's veto, just as they plan to do with the pro-life measure, Senate Bill 20, which the Senate passed yesterday by a vote of 29-20. GOP leaders in the state are emphatically responding to the wishes of the North Carolinians who voted them into a supermajority. Joining me now to discuss this is State Representative Ken Fontenot, who represents the 24th District of North Carolina. Representative Fontenot, welcome to Washington Watch.
Thank you so much, Tony. I certainly appreciate it and really enjoy the work that you all do.
Well, I appreciate that. And congratulations on passing this through the House. I know you played a key role in the accomplishment of both these bills, on the pro-life bill and then this bill protecting children from these gender experimentation procedures that many on the left are pushing. Now, it's interesting that the citizens of North Carolina voted for a Republican supermajority. How does this legislation reflect the values of those in North Carolina?
I think what we're seeing is a return to common sense and decency. Because when you look at what's happening to these children, it's nothing short of predatory behavior. You know, in short, we can look at Europe, who's several years ahead of us in their trans procedures, having administered puberty blockers and gender reassignment surgeries longer than we have. And they are releasing official government mandates and medical guidance to say that these things should be used as a last resort in the most extreme cases. And what's sad is that in the US, we're using it as a first resort. And so when I think about how we were brought forth to do things like this, I just think people want to come back to decency, common sense, and actually caring for the vulnerable is what I'm seeing.
Some of the opponents of this, the Democratic opponents of this, said that they call it gender-affirming care, is needed for minors. And they say, despite what the bill says, despite the words on the page, it's really about bigotry and a national trend to stigmatize transgender youth. Can you speak to that?
What I like to say is what you lack in substance, people will try to make up in pizzazz. And when you look at the idea that this is about bigotry, well, I come from a family of slaves. I come from a family that knows what racism is like growing up in the deep South and Central Louisiana. It can be nothing further from the truth. In short, when you look at the research, you look at the words on the page, what is clear is that we are protecting children from predatory practices taking place within our medical establishment, and really not even for the benefit of the kids. It's for the money that they're going to make and also the experimentation taking place. And this has happened before in our country. And I made it clear in my floor remarks that we've seen this happen at least twice in the last 100 years. And this time we're going to do something about it.
You make a really good point, because what we've seen is that debate, there is really no more debate in this country over ideas and over policy. There's just these, these buzzwords, these talking points that are totally disconnected from reality. The fact that this bill is very clear in what it does, they say, it doesn't matter what it says, this is about bigotry. So they just assign motives, but in many ways they're just projecting their own motives.
Yes, and that's what you see. If you ever listen to the floor remarks, we record everything, and that's what you'll have. So far, I've engaged with almost every detractor via email as well as on the floor, and no one has answered the statistics we quoted. No one has answered the fact that Europe has been rolling these procedures back, and no one has answered the biggest elephant in the room, and that is Europe is now advising their countries that in over 80% of the cases, that if you just give these children mental health care through their puberty years, that after puberty, in over 80% of the cases, gender dysphoria symptoms are reduced greatly and usually dissipate. And these are from people who don't have an agenda.
And no response to that. They completely ignore it. I thought these people were about science.
No, they're not about science. They're not about statistics. And that will be blatantly and obviously true when you engage with them and you use science and statistics. But I guess that's why I love my job. I truly believe truth stands on its own. And when you present truth, they can say a lot of things, but they will not talk about what you said. And I think I'm seeing a lot of positive feedback from even the people on both sides, because they'll try to make it look like the LGBT crowd is unified on this, and they're not. Whereas many are for it, there are against it, which lets us know we shouldn't be doing this because there is no consensus, especially since it's so dangerous and risky.
Representative Fontenot, we're up against a great break. Very quickly, 20 seconds. What's next for your bill?
Next, it'll be in the Senate, where our Senate counterparts, Senator Heiss, will be leading it through there. We hope to strengthen the bill on that side and come out with a better product in the long run, but I'm interested and excited to see what happens.
All right. State Representative Fontenot, thanks so much for taking time to join us today. And again, thank you for your important work.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right.